I give you all my love.
Mes amis. Hello and welcome to my new parenting podcast, Mes amis. It's a French term that stands for revealing, confiding, and lay bare in the literal sense as well as the figurative. That's right, my guests reveal their state of mind along with their body to tell the truth and personal experience with parenting. In each episode, you will discover my unfiltered and anti-conformist conversation with the guest we hosted at the Mes amis Lounge. You will find our videos on our website mesanu.com and our YouTube channel. Now, have you ever had the feeling that you needed to record a good conversation with your friend just because it was radically honest and truly relevant? Well, that is exactly why I decided to record this chat with Carolina. She is one of my dearest friends. She is so free-spirited and inspiring that I found very necessary to give her the opportunity to speak her truth about parenting. Carolina is 36. She's from Sweden, and lately she decided to move forward with her strong will to have a baby on her own. After waiting for years to meet the right man, she decided to take her fate into her own hands, and she is now seriously considering the IVF option. And you know, she seems okay with the solo parenting solution. Having this conversation with Carolina opened my eyes and made me change my mind about assisted reproduction. I also realized that this matter goes beyond the common understanding. If you take it on a political level, it involves feminism, women's rights, division of roles, social independence, and humanistic progress. I really hope you will enjoy this conversation as much as I did, and I deeply recommend you to listen all the way through. It's another conversation that I want to open about parenting.
Although I don't have any experience about parenting.
Exactly. And I understood it was something big in your life. And at the moment, you want to have a kid no matter what. So maybe you just want to have a kid with someone you just met, or maybe you want to have a kid on your own. So what is the deal right now?
Well, basically, I don't want to have a kid with someone I just met. I'd rather have a kid by my own rather than having a kid with just someone.
Which is quite interesting, because normally we're just trying to wait until we meet the right one we want to have a kid with.
I mean, of course, I would love to have a kid with someone that I love and someone that loves me. But I just haven't met anyone yet. And I know a lot of women in my age would probably go out and just have a one-night stand and get pregnant. And I don't want that. I really don't want that. I don't think it's fair, and I much rather just have a kid on my own then, and then I can meet the love of my life after.
Okay, so you're ready to reverse the whole process. Mm-hmm. You're ready to have a kid and then try to find the person who would be the right fit to your life, having a kid.
Yeah, because I think it puts so much pressure on trying to have a relationship right now and trying to meet someone. It just puts so much pressure on that relationship if I'm trying to find the perfect father and trying to find someone that I want to spend the rest of my life with. I just don't really see that happening, and maybe it will happen.
Why do you think the society puts so much pressure on women and men to find the right person to live the rest of your life with? Why do you think it's such a big deal?
There were probably really good reasons back in the days. You know, like a woman needed a man to support her and to support the family. It's the only reason I can think of right now. But I think there are very practical reasons for that. If you look at other societies, like there are other cultures, for example, where maybe you raise a child more in a community, but we don't have that in Europe. You know, in like so-called modern society, we have kind of arranged it in a way that we're supposed to be two people. And that puts a lot of strain on the relationship and the kind of person that you need to meet. I don't think it necessarily has to be that, neither from a cultural perspective or from a biological perspective. I know everyone says that you need to be a man and a woman to raise to raise a child. You cannot do it by yourself. I don't agree. I think that if you have a strong support system, let's say you have a big family around you, you have friends, it's probably even easier than if it's just two of you, if it's just a couple trying to raise a child.
When you have a kid, the most difficult moments happens at night at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're so exhausted and you have to wake up again, and they won't be around at that moment. And the early morning when they wake up at 6, you didn't get enough sleep and you're going to be more and more exhausted. They won't be around. They'll be around probably for brunch and lunch, you know, getting a nice walk in the afternoon. But do you think the support system is enough in this situation?
I think it's going to be really fucking hard to do that by yourself. But I also heard about people, like moms and dads who put a lot of energy about, for example, fighting about, okay, who's going to take the baby this night, you know? I just don't think it's easy. Having a baby, I don't think it's easy no matter how you do it. I hear a lot of women saying that they fight so much with a dad about, like, okay, who's going to take the baby tonight? Who's going to take the baby this morning? And it's a lot of stress. If you have decided to have a baby on your own, you know it's going to be tough as hell. I'm 100% sure it's going to be a nightmare in the beginning. Yeah. But I think you're also maybe more prepared for it. You know that you're going to have to deal with it on your own.
What kind of fears are you facing for the pregnancy and then the rest of it?
I think my biggest fear is not so much the practical thing, even though I love sleeping. So like not having enough sleep is going to be a nightmare. But I think I'm really prepared for that part, that it's going to be hell. Something that I fear more, I think, is not being able, like not having someone to share the joys with. Like the, you know, I don't know, the first steps, the first words, whatever. I mean, I know I'll have my family and my friends to share it with, but I don't think it'll be the same. And I think I'm scared that I'm gonna feel even more lonely. I know a lot of women probably get kids not to feel as lonely. They don't have someone special in their life, so they want a baby to fill that void. I'm more scared that I'm gonna feel more lonely. It will be like a different kind of lonely.
Yeah, this loneliness that you're talking about, a lot of moms relate to that. When you have a baby for the first years, you know that you need to stay home because your baby needs to sleep. He needs to get some good rest and naps in the afternoon. And so you need to stay in.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I think I've been through my sisters and my friends raising children, and I know it's not easy. Like, I know it's going to be hell, but I also know it's going to be beautiful. And I think if you're prepared for that, it's probably easier than if you think it's just going to be all, I don't know, fluffy pink clouds.
Yeah. So you're ready for that. You think that you have enough strength to overcome the feeling of guilt?
What guilt?
The guilt of raising a child on your own. How do you feel about this?
I don't feel any guilt about that.
Don't you think that one day your child gonna ask about, you know, the fact that he doesn't know his dad and that it's not normal because he's seeing his friends with a dad and a mom and he doesn't have a dad? What's your feeling about this?
I think that it's becoming more and more common. For example, in Malmö now, I think in February, there were 120 kids born by single mothers or single parents. I mean, I don't have any experience of that because I grew up with a mom and a dad, and I had a great childhood. I mean, my dad means so much to me. So much to me. But at the same time, I don't think, like, even if he was not my father, let's say he was, I don't know, my mom's friend or anyone else, I don't know, I don't think it would matter. I don't feel any guilt towards the child at all because, one, I think people get children not for the children's sake. It's 100% egoistic choice to get children. Whether you're in a couple or not, it's not for, you don't get a child for the child's sake. it's something that you do because you want, like, I don't know, a copy of yourself, a fruit of your love, or whatever you want to call it. It's not, you don't get a child for a child's sake. A lot of children also, they grow up with a father, for example, who's not very present, a father who's maybe even abusive. I think there are so many different sort of relationships, and just the fact that you have a father, it's not always, it's not always a positive thing. Of course, if it's just a mother, it might not be a positive thing either. But I think if you have a great support system around you and people who love you and who love the child, I don't think it's going to matter that much.
In the 70s, everybody used to raise the child in the community, so they were all uncles and aunties and were just friends. Basically, they were having sex together as they were outside of the society. And do you think that it's something we should keep, something, like the essence of sharing the children, everything, the couples, the relationship, just exchange and people? And
yeah, I think we have become really set in our ways of, like, it's a couple, it's two of you, and you're supposed to face the world, the two of you, against everything else. And as much as I like that idea, it's a very romantic, nice fantasy, I'm not sure I believe in it, because obviously, if you look around all the people who divorce and stay together for a couple of years, and then you find someone new, all the people that cheat, I think it's a bit of a fantasy. I don't know, which is funny because it's not like I grew up with parents who divorced, for example. Well, my parents are still together and are very happy as far as I can see. And so of course I would love that, but maybe we're not all of us, at least, meant to live that kind of life.
What is the process when you want to have a kid on your own in Sweden? Mm-hmm. Walk us through that. How does it work?
Well, basically, you contact the health system and say that you want to have a child. Kind of like if you're a couple that are trying to get pregnant but you can't, or if you're a homosexual couple that can get pregnant, then you also contact the health system. And then I think you have to wait for it depends on where you live in Sweden, but I had to wait for 4 months before I got a first appointment with a counselor. And so you go and speak to the counselor, you just talk about everything, what does your situation look like, your support system, your family. I think what they're trying to get at is whether you're ready to raise a child by yourself.
Okay. Is it like a very tough process, or is it pretty easy?
They're checking so that you're actually mentally fit to have a baby by yourself, but at the same time I think it's just as much for you as a mom to see that, to be able to ask the questions that you have and get prepared.
So first is a mental check to make sure that everything is fine with you and you're not a psycho.
Exactly.
And you're ready to raise a child.
Yeah.
And then what's next?
And then you get another appointment in about 3 months for another counseling session. And if you pass that, so to say, you get an appointment with a doctor. You get hormones and stuff to make the process easier for you to get pregnant. And otherwise, I think it's just insemination.
Okay, so you get injection where, in your belly, or okay, you get injection in your belly. Mm-hmm. And so that helps with like the hormones.
Yeah, I think it makes you produce more eggs.
Okay,
I think. I'm not there yet, but I think that it makes you produce more eggs, and then they take out 1 or 2 eggs, or maybe more. They fertilize them with a donor's, like an anonymous donor's sperm, and then they put it back inside.
How long does it take, the whole process? Do you know?
Well, I think it's very different from women to women, but I think you have 3 trials in the Swedish system that are for free. Hopefully, you'll get pregnant within those 3 months.
Are you saying that the whole process at the beginning is free in Sweden?
Yeah.
Okay, so you just don't pay.
No.
You go in,
Yeah.
you check in, and you're just like, hey, that's me, Carolina, and I want to
wanna have
have
a baby."
a baby. And that's how it works.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so it's completely supported by your health system.
Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah, so you get the same care as a single mom as a couple. Like if a couple would come in and say, okay, we're having problem getting pregnant, then I think they also get three trials with IVF.
Wow, interesting. So you can choose if you know the donor or if you don't know him.
No, that's the difference with the Swedish system. I know in Denmark, for example, they basically have a catalog when you can choose. Okay, I want this and this. I want someone who's blue-eyed with dark skin and who's athletic and who's academic.
Okay, it's a market.
It's a market, more or less, yeah. In the Swedish system, you go, you meet with a doctor, the gynecologist, and the gynecologist talks to you, and she or he picks the donor. And it's based on what you look like, what your background is, as I understood it. So, for example, for me, it would be, okay, the dad would be Nordic-looking, brown hair, clear eyes.
So they're trying to match your genetics with the donor's genetics?
Yeah.
What is the reason for this?
I think the reason is because they want you to connect to the child. Like, they want you to feel like the child is yours.
Oh, so they want to make the child feels better?
They want to make the child look as much as you as possible. Okay. So that it has one parent to relate to.
Okay.
At least that's the official reason, at least. If you're a lesbian couple, let's say you and I were together and we were going to have a child, then if I was carrying the child, they would pick a donor that looks like you so that you could more easily connect with the kid.
Okay. I get this. Okay, so now you're at a point where you want to go through that, but you're not 100% sure yet. What is holding you from making the final decision?
No, I am 100% sure that I want to do it. I mean, that I will do it unless I would meet someone before that. It's not very feasible. So I'm trying to keep the focus on what I want. I wouldn't try to force anyone to have a child with me because I don't think that's the right way to go. Then I'd rather have a child by myself and I could have a relationship with that person.
Don't you think it's scary for a man to know that you are so independent and you're so free-spirited that you can have a kid on your own, and because you don't need him, don't you think it's like taking away a chance for him to give you what you want because you already did it by yourself?
I never thought about it that way, actually. That it would be something like scary in the sense that it would take away kind of his purpose. But you're probably right. Yeah, that could probably happen. It's just that I feel like I've changed my plans so many times for a man. You know, what I want, and what I want to do, and at this point, never gotten me where I wanted in life. So now I feel like, okay, it's time for me to do what I want and focus on what I want. But I'm not gonna force anyone into that responsibility.
So you're doing this because you're so done of waiting for the right person to give you what you want.
Yeah, because I don't really feel like in a way I don't feel like I need someone. I don't need to wait for someone to give me a baby. You know what I mean?
You actually do, because biologically you need a man to get pregnant.
No, I realize that, but I can also, like, biologically, I can also go out to a bar and fuck whoever, you know, and get a child. So biologically, it's not a problem. Biologically, I can fix it in one night, but that's just not what I want to do. I don't want to do that to neither the man or to the baby. I much rather than tell my baby that I really wanted you, so fixed it in a good and respectable way. I mean, and biologically, like, what does that mean? Okay, the semen is, get the semen inside me. Okay, well, I can get the semen inside me just with a injection or whatever. It's never been an option to go to a bar and pick up someone to get impregnated. Like, it's not even an option. How do you do that? I couldn't. And when I started to think about this process of having a baby by myself, I was actually really against the thought of not knowing who the father was. So it's not something that came really easily to me, to be honest. I had to really process it. And then once I processed that it would be an anonymous donor to think about, then I found out that it would be when you're over 35, it's through IVF, so you have to go through the hormones and that whole part, which I didn't know.
Because you're 36 right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I thought it was just be like an insemination, but apparently what they normally do, it's the whole IVF with hormones and the whole procedure.
Yeah, to get more chances to make it work.
Yeah. And I didn't know that, but I don't know, I got used to that idea as well.
And so when you think about it, when you go to bed at night and you're thinking about the whole process, so half of this baby is not yours. How can you share a human being, a human life, with someone you don't even know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest, yeah, that is something that I think about. To see the feature in my child that's not mine and I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
And it's a bit scary. I think the child will still be my child, and it's like when you adopt a child, right? You have a child where you don't recognize the features. You don't know who the father and the mother is, the biological father and the mother, but you still love the child. It's not that important.
Have you considered calling a good friend of yours, asking for this specific request? Yes. Well, actually, it's a huge favor.
Yeah, I did have a friend that wanted to have a male friend that wanted to have a baby with me. So it's a male friend of mine. We've been friends. We've known each other since we were 18 or so we're really good friends. And he's been wanting to have a child for a long time, but also been having problems so at one point we said that, okay, maybe we should have a child together. It would be sort of like a divorced couple, but without all the fights and, hatred between us. The negativity, yeah. We would just share a child, and it would be easier. You share the burden, you also share the good parts,
You want to have a child. Where does that come from? Where this inner feeling starts?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one part is probably biological. It's like
your clock is ticking.
Yeah, it's like although I don't feel that pressured from the biological clock as many people call it. I'm pretty sure, I think I could probably get pregnant a few years more, but I don't want to feel I don't want to go for another 3 years trying to find the man of my life.
Are you putting this pressure on yourself, or is the society putting this pressure on you?
To have a child or to find a man?
Both. Because you seem very independent,
Yeah.
you seem very free-spirited, and you seem like you're doing just fine without a man in your life.
Yeah.
So where does that come from, this feeling of, I really want to have a man in my life and share my life, when you know that you actually don't really need it?
Yeah, I think it's not like an explicit pressure from the society. I never have people telling me you have to get a man, you should do this and this and this. But I think it's more the fact that basically all of my friends in my age, they do have family, they do have a man. From society, it's implicit. You see everyone in couples, you see everyone having families and babies, and so I think you have to be extremely strong to fight against that if you want to call it societal pressure, to not feel that, I think.
Yeah, it's systemic actually, just it's all around us. So you need to go with the flow at what point.
Yeah, I mean, I also have friends that are my age, and they are all their friends are single and fine with that. They're happy with that. And maybe I would be as well if I was in that community, but I'm not. So it's really, really difficult to separate. Okay, what is it that I want, and what is it that societal pressure? I don't know.
And at what point it becomes an obsession? I know that I can get very obsessed easily. For instance, I really want to have a haircut one day, or I want to change my hair color, and I really want a tattoo very bad. And if I don't get it, I'm gonna get so obsessed with it. I'm gonna think about it day and night, and I'm gonna drive myself nuts about it, you know? And so it's nothing compared to giving birth or having a child. And so I am a mom, and my thing was I got this obsession one day. I wanted to be pregnant. Most of women really wants to be moms. They want to have a little baby in their arms. They want to raise a kid. That was not my case. I wanted to be pregnant because I wanted to see my belly getting fuller and bigger and rounder every day. So that was my thing. And I got very obsessed with the idea of having a baby, not giving birth, raising a child. I was only attracted by the idea of having a new life in my own body. That was something to me.
Yeah, my obsession, if you want to call it, is a little bit, or the attraction is a little bit the same that you had. Like, I want to feel something grow inside me, which is weird. Maybe, but yeah, like the whole, because before I could totally see myself adopting a child when I was younger, but lately I'm more like I want to have a baby growing inside me.
Yeah, the body experiment.
Yeah. So, but when it comes to the obsession, I feel like a couple of years ago it became almost like an obsession, and that's why I decided that like I need to do something about this obsession, and deciding that okay, I'm gonna have a baby by myself no matter what, like by myself or with someone else, but I'm gonna have a baby. It kind of took away that obsession, because I did feel like every guy that I dated, there was this humongous pressure on the relationship, right? Is this going to be the one? Is this going to be the father of my child? So it just became too much. I feel like I was dependent on finding someone. I started to feel dependent on a man, almost like a man that I hadn't even met. Yeah, I didn't really like that feeling. So when I decided that okay, well, I can have a child by myself. Like, I don't have to settle for someone. Just have a child. Then I feel like that obsession kind of disappeared a little bit.
Do you think the next step for our society is taking only the semen from men without the relationship? Do you think it's the next thing? The next society is based on we don't really need men, because that was more a burden than a pleasure. Do you think that's, the new backlash?
It's a nice thought, but
it's more like we did so much for you guys. We actually did everything for centuries and centuries.
I mean, in a sense, yeah, I guess that's true. And what happened then, maybe, if we're lucky, is that men will start to feel like, okay, they're actually gonna have to put in a whole lot of effort, Oh, if I can be mom by myself and I don't really need a man, I guess it means that the men would have to work a whole lot harder to actually get a woman, right?
Exactly.
I haven't thought about it that way, but I like it.
You do like the idea? Should we keep this one? Nice. Are you aware that what you're saying right now is actually very political? What you're saying right now is very feministic, for sure. And you're defending a new way of life, and it's probably our future. We don't know it yet. I think it's just the beginning of something much bigger than us.
True. In a way, I'm starting to feel more and more that, okay, let's say I have a child by myself. Of course, I would love to have a man in my life. But let's say that I have a really good friend by my side, a female friend or a male friend, whatever. But a friend that supports me, not financially, but like supports me emotionally, and that's there. I think that would be almost just as good, Like, does it really have to be a man? Or a woman? Does it have to be a romantic relationship? Because maybe I'm cynical now, but I think all romantic relationships, they have their ups and downs. A more friendly relationship, like, with friends, it's often not as up and down.
Do you consider yourself as a feminist?
Well, yeah, of course. I think people who don't consider themselves feminists, they probably don't know what feminism is. Because feminism, if you just like strip it down to what it really is, it's about equality. I have the same worth as a woman as a man has. So if you don't believe in feminism, you don't really know what feminism is, or you don't believe in equality.
Very true.
That's the bottom line. So yeah, of course I'm a feminist, and I know it's a very loaded word, but I think we need to take that loadedness out of the word, because it's really just about equality. And it's not about, equality is not about being the same. I don't even really feel like explaining it, because I feel like if you don't get that, you have a lot of catching up to do.
Well, first of all, I'm very passionate about the subject, so it's a kind of endless conversation for me. And I really love the way you handle this, so I think you're just the right person to talk about it. Really, you are.
Oh, thank you.
It's not something that everybody can hear right now, because it's very different, and because you still look like an outsider right now, because you're not doing what the society expects from you as a woman, and because you're living on the edge, we want you to live a different life. So it's not very understandable for most of people around you, and most people in our country at least. So
I think if you're a single mom, or when we manage to have kids by ourselves, we can actually put so much more demands on the man. Not demands, is that the right word? Demands? You can't be a fucking asshole, because we're not gonna settle with it.
yes,
You're gonna have to be fucking good if I'm gonna take you as my man. You're gonna have to be worth it.
so the new freedom is basically, I don't pick the right man, or I don't pick any man. I pick myself over any other man.
I don't think I have super high demands on men, actually. I would be pretty happy if I met someone who just loved me. But, I won't settle for shit,
Why are you still single right now?
Maybe I'm too picky. Maybe I want too much. Maybe I want it all. The passion. You want the passion, at the same time you want the stability. Yeah, you just want everything. You want the Disney movie, which obviously doesn't exist. Yeah, I think in a way, I'm starting to realize, maybe I'm, I always thought that the men that I meet are the ones that are afraid of commitment. But I'm starting to think more and more, okay, maybe I'm actually scared of commitment. Because, I'm the one who, as soon as someone likes me, I'm like, he's not. is not for me.
Yeah. What could happen that gives you the chill? What is it? Are you afraid of the routine? Are you afraid of getting so comfortable in a life with no traveling, with no excitement?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, what is like? Okay, let's stipulate that I'm scared of something, or that I'm like. I think it's like this feeling that it's not true, you know. Whatever they feel, whatever he feels for me, it's not really real, you know. So I guess that's maybe a self-confidence thing.
You're running away because you don't have enough self-confidence?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Because you're scared that he might run away from you? And so you're doing it before it happens to you? So you're protecting yourself from it?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it might be that way, but it's not really like outspoken in my brain that way. Like I can't say that it is because I'm scared of getting hurt, because it's not that clear to me.
Thank you very much. I hope that you're gonna find your own way, and let us know how it goes.
Yeah.
We want to know if you meet someone in between, or if you go through the whole process. And we would love to talk to you in a couple of years, Mama. Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
If any of these stories help you feel less isolated, brought consciousness and compassion into your life, then join our community. Subscribe, comment, and share our podcast and videos around you to help us grow a bigger movement. Thank you. Bye.